Okay, hi, I'm Cleo, and I feel like I've tried so many crafts over the past 5 years. My partner and I moved into a two-bedroom apartment in the last year, and we've pretty much dedicated the second room to be an office. Slowly, I've been filling it up with all of my craft supplies. I have a big bin tower that's holding everything. I've got a desk that is filled with sewing supplies and has my sewing machine on top. And then there's also lots of yarn in the closet and paper scraps for scrapbooking. So a couple of weeks ago, I organized all of my knitting supplies in the living room. And now, over a couple of days, I think I'm going to tackle the office. It's just filled with stuff and it's so hard to search for things, and I find that when I have to dig through the stuff, I just make a bigger mess. And I really want to clear out some extra space so I can move all of my knitting supplies over, and I want it to be functional. I want to decorate it a little bit and maybe display some of my art. I have a few goals in mind, or like few categories I'm gonna work on, and maybe 2 different videos. I feel like this would be a long video, but I have some notes here. The first one is my sewing drawers. The desk space is kind of the sewing zone, and there's 2 long drawers and they're filled with sewing supplies. No fabric, but like needles and thread and measuring tapes. So I need to go through those and declutter it and kind of reorganize all the bins that are in there. And then I also have a lot of embroidery supplies. And I recently just dumped everything into one bin and I made a giant mess. And I really want to embroider more recently to give my wrists a break from knitting, and I just need to reorganize it so I can find all my material and just have it be a more organized system. The next one is a yarn cleanup. I have a lot of acrylic yarn and other types of fibers that I'm not really going to use. I used to crochet a lot, and I just don't really use acrylic yarn anymore. I host crafts groups once a week, and I was kind of thinking at some point in the future I would do lessons, so I feel like I should hold on to the acrylic yarn, but it's taking up a lot of space, so I don't know if that's worth it. And with that, I have a lot of crochet materials. I don't really crochet anymore. It just doesn't feel good on my left hand, and so I have hooks and other material, and I feel like I can use a lot of the notions from crochet with my knitting supplies, but I'm figuring out how I can compact all of my crochet supplies and hooks, because I don't really want to get rid of them, but they're taking up too much space. And that includes old crochet whips that I'm never going to go back to, including a blanket and some big projects overall. And then the next one is a fabric declutter. Last summer, I was really into making scrap embroidered clothing. So I would cut out small scraps and with my sewing machine embroider them onto a shirt. And so I kind of made a system putting them in some nice boxes, but I have a lot of fabric just scattered in the bins. So if I could organize everything and maybe donate some of the fabric, I think that would be nice. And then I could better figure out the fabric I have to make more shirts. The next one is new decorations. When we originally moved in, I made this nice little wall, but it's not looking great anymore. And with this, I just want to make the space simplified, and I'll show you I have a lot of extra bins that I just need to find a new place for. And then the next one is whips organization. Of course, I have a lot of abandoned projects in there, and because everything's so messy, I can't really find them. So if I put them all in one spot or made a log of them, I think that would help me organize things. And then kind of the last one is a new scraps system. I've recently gotten into collaging a lot more, and with that comes tiny pieces of paper and stickers and glue sticks. So I should maybe dedicate one of those bins or make a new bin, or I don't know, we'll see. Okay, here's the office, and I'm a little embarrassed to show what it's looking like now. But here, when you walk in through the door, here is the desk. Up here, I've put some prints and a little bit of art. I probably want to redecorate this and maybe add some more of my art. But I've got my sewing machine here, a couple crafting books, and then I've got 2 drawers here in this IKEA desk. I have a lot of sewing supplies here, thread, tags I really want to use, like pens and random stuff. This needs to be reorganized because I keep losing things. Like, I've actually been looking for this for so long, so I've got to fix that system. And then over here, really, I want everything to be moved. This is stuff we don't use very often, and sometimes my partner uses this as an office. So if we could move some things over here we use more often, I think that'd be helpful. Like, I don't need to have this here, and for some reason we have like a travel spoon. So getting these things moved would be great. And then over in this corner, I have a big box of yarn that I purchased at the Sacred Sheep Festival in Portland last fall. And I'm hoping to get going on this project this fall. So I want to make this accessible so I can start looking at pattern ideas. And then down here we have this like plastic drawer set that we've had since college. I don't really like how it looks, so I want to see if we can move everything into the closet. This is kind of just like old paperwork and supplies that I think would fit in the desk. So I think I'd like to move that in the closet or get rid of it. And then over here's kind of a mess. I recently reorganized the closet, and this is the stuff that I don't want in there or just didn't fit. So in here, I have a lot of office supplies that I should organize in the desk. Here's some fabric that I want to sew a dress into, backpacks that need to go in the closet, a box I thought I can organize some things in, and then I think these are crochet whips that I'm probably going to get rid of. And then we've got a Peloton here, a cart that my friend Deb gifted me, and I'm definitely going to use this, maybe for knitting. I don't know. I'm very excited about this. And then closets here. I've got some crochet yarn, the acrylic yarn I was talking about here. So I've got, this is completely full of yarn, mostly acrylic. I guess this is some cotton right here. And so I need to decide if I should get rid of this or keep it. So we'll see. And then back when we're at the door, we have the bins here. That is all the cat stuff that we have to keep in here. So here's where I keep all the fabric, and then in all of these bins, it's just filled with supplies. So I'll just quickly go through like fabric, packaging, more fabric, coloring books, pens, more fabric. This is like a sewing project that was kind of a fail. More fabric, notebooks, scrapbooking supplies, pictures. Gosh, like, I hope you can tell, it's just very random stuff. More fabric. Wow, I didn't realize I had this much fabric. Oh my gosh. And more, but I think it's all embroidery stuff at the very bottom. So I think I'll get started with the desk area and see how I can organize it. Maybe I won't even get to the drawers today. So let's just see what I can get done. I'm probably going to turn on some knitting podcasts. I've really been liking a few creators, so I'll show you what I watch, and I can get going on organizing and like redecorating this space, and then probably moving all of these boxes so it just looks a little bit nicer in here.
Then I think you could duplicate stitch.
I was gifted these when I was traveling at a yarn store because I think I just spent a good amount of money there. I've never built or like put them together, but it's called a Notion Nest. Made in the Netherlands. That's where I picked them up. So I don't know where I'll use these, but let's see if I can figure out how to put them together. I think they're a really cute color and they seem like they're felt. Okay, I just spent about 20 minutes taking everything out of the drawers and then putting them in a much more organized way. And I ended up finding a good amount of trash, and then I've got a bunch of stuff I want to put somewhere else. So let me show you what I have so far. I haven't touched anything on the desk yet, but I'm thinking of putting this on the desk, this in the bins. All of these need to go somewhere in my house, Trash, and then on the left, I have the most used supplies, other stuff, and then everything over here I don't touch very often. And I have these like little yogurt containers that easily hold onto stuff, so I can just pull it out and keep it next to me. I have one more of these that I'll figure out what I want to do with. I'm not sure where the other one went. Oh, I have the pins right here, the clips here, and then I've started organizing all of like our paper desk material. We have a lot of pens and markers, so I want to come up with a long-term solution to hold everything that we can take to go in the living room. But for now, this is everything. I'm going to charge my phone a little bit and put all the stuff away that's on the desk. Okay, I want to review some of the craft books that I have that I want to keep in here, hoping that I look at them and use them. They're kind of dusty because I haven't looked at them in a while, but most of these were gifted by my mom, and there's just a lot of really good patterns and I should look at them more. Okay, the first one is the How to Sew book, and this one looks really cool. I love the like shapes of these clothes. I definitely want to make these tops. This one here, and I like how this jacket is cut out. Well, even that shirt. What's cool is that it kind of gives you a basic guide on how to sew these clothes. Like here's this cardigan coat I think is really cute. And then at the very back, there's the pattern pieces. I haven't really looked at these much, but I really think I should just pull out some of my scrap fabric and try this book out. The next one is Zero Waste Patterns by Brigitte Hamilton, something like that. 20 projects to sew your own wardrobe. I really like the kind of style of this book, and yeah, it's 20 projects with a pretty good size range. And I really like so many of these patterns. The skirt, what else? I think, yeah, this like tank top. And I think they're just like pretty classic cuts that, yeah, the shirt too. I definitely want to try out this book, and yeah, it even has like little pattern blocks here and here. So I should definitely use this one as well, instead of maybe buying patterns online, just to try out the books I have. And then I have 3 other books here. The first one is Modern Crochet. I don't know how many patterns I'll actually use in this book, so maybe this is something I gift to someone in my crafting group. But there's some good basics maybe to learn, like, yeah, different like thick stitches and everything. The next one, Modern Crochet Sweaters, includes 20 patterns. A little bit like older styles, but I still think it'd be worth taking a look at or sharing with one of my friends. Yeah, it goes really in depth into stitch types and everything there. And then the last one is a really cool book, more last minute knitted gifts. And it's just a lot of like really short projects. This was gifted to me by a knitting friend that was moving and didn't want to pack all of these books. So yeah, super small projects, and most of these are like for children or babies. I think I want to make these socks just for like my cousin's kids and someday like nieces and nephews. So really cute patterns here, and like, yeah, the baskets look great. So I should check this out and yeah, just make some simple socks. Oh, I even like this sock pattern, and the vest is cute. So again, these are the 5 craft books I have, and I like keeping them in the corner just to keep my eye on them, and hopefully it'll motivate me to work on them a little bit more. And then here is my really big pen and marker collection. I've just collected these over the years, and they're all split up into different containers, and I'd like them to be in like one compact system. I saw the other day at a flea market like a spinning pen holder, if that makes sense. I didn't have cash or I would have bought it, but I would really like something like that, maybe with like a handle so you can move it. But for now, I've just pulled out all of the random glass jars that we've been collecting, and I'm gonna see if I can split everything up in here, hopefully fit everything, and be able to divide it into like, oh yeah, with all of these Sharpies too, like color pencils and everything. I have a couple more mason jars, but I feel like they would just fill up this whole front of the desk. So let me organize everything to see if we can fit it all. Okay, it's getting pretty hot in this room. I think it's like 90 degrees outside, and it'll probably be over a 20-minute video. So I'm gonna pause for today and show you what I completed. Most of the work is pretty hidden, but on the desk, I feel like this is looking really nice. The new Notions pouches, all of my craft books, and then all of like the drawing tools are split up, my favorite pens, colored pencils, Sharpies, pens, and then our like kind of markers. I'll still be looking for like a turning pen holder, so we'll see if I can find that. I've got my sewing machine, lamp, and then I haven't adjusted anything here. I've decided that I want to maybe quilt a tapestry to add to the wall, and then maybe thrift some secondhand like cross stitch or embroidery to add to this wall. But then most of the work was in these drawers. So this is what this one is looking like right now. Pretty simple, but I know I'll be putting more stuff in there. And then this one is really organized. I've got all the main tools I need, glue sticks, needles, everything extra over here, thread. And then over here, I moved a significant amount of stuff into the closet. I have not worked on this drawer set yet. Here are more sewing supplies I'm going to need to add to the bins. And then this is filled with office supplies, and I feel like most of it I'm going to take to Goodwill or to Reclaim It in Portland if they take stuff. I'm not sure if they take stuff. Okay, so I had a lot of ideas in mind for this craft cleanup. This is part 2. There will definitely be a part 3 and maybe 4. So I'll continue to work on these goals for the office. And yeah, I kind of enjoy organizing and getting rid of stuff. I'm kind of in the mood that I want my house to be emptier. So I'm excited to continue cleaning up all of my craft supplies. I start a job at the end of August. I'm gonna be a support teacher, so I'd love to get the office cleaned up before school starts. I also want to mention my first knitting pattern has been released. They're called the Girlfriend Socks. They're a very beginner-friendly pattern you can find on Ravelry and Etsy, and there's a full tutorial on my channel that walks through every step so that hopefully it's a little bit easier. I'm wearing them now, just striped sock with a contrast toe. I love these socks and I love knitting socks in general. I'm probably going to release a ladybug colorwork sock soon, so you can check out my Instagram and TikTok at Stitch by Cleo to see updates there, especially if you want to test knit. You can send me your email or Instagram and I'll add you to the list. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.